Passionate, driven, enthusiastic, euphoric. This is who we are as entrepreneurs. But how we leverage these incredible attributes to dream and build businesses that scale and grow is what this podcast is all about. Hello, I'm attorneypreneur Josh Brown, and welcome to Franchise Euphoria. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Franchise Euphoria. Again, we are thrilled that it is National Small Business Week. I love any celebration of a small business, of entrepreneurial endeavors, of people going out there and making it happen. So this week we are doing something special. We are releasing an episode each day this week. So it is now Thursday. So we've released episodes Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. We will be releasing one today after I record this and tomorrow. So definitely tune in. Today we have I really want to discuss something that is near and dear to my heart, and I think a very, very interesting topic. And that is the benefits of treating your business like a franchise, even if you aren't one. So I know many folks who tune in, they're looking to buy a franchise or looking to turn their businesses into franchises. But I do have listeners who also just like the idea of what a franchise has to offer, but don't necessarily want to go down that road. Well, over the years of working with just a number of franchise systems, I've noticed things across the board that all good franchises do. And so I want to talk about that a little bit today. I've sort of categorized them into 4 categories, and I'll go into that in a minute. But the point being is that you don't have to turn your business into a franchise to be successful and to grow. You really don't. You can obviously grow in a corporate structure. You can grow through other licensing mechanisms where you're not going into a full-blown franchise. But one thing you need to be cognizant of is if you think like a franchisor or you think like a franchise owner in terms of how your business is set up and how your operations are run, I do believe that you're going to give yourself a much, much better chance of success. So what does that mean? Well, I think there are 4 characteristics that I've seen over and over again in all successful franchises. The first one being predictability. The second one being efficiency. The third one being simplicity. And the fourth one being marketability. Okay. So businesses, the successful franchises I see are predictable, efficient, simple, and marketable. So I'm going to break those down here on this episode. With regard to predictable, what do I mean? Well, good franchise businesses, when there's a predictable model in terms of what the customer experience is going to be like and what the operations are going to be like. And when you have a predictable experience for your customers, you have a more consistent business, you provide a more consistent experience, and that really can go a long way to driving loyalty in your business. And I saw an interesting study that said they conducted a study over a number of retail locations, and they found out that 12 to 15% of these retail locations customers had a loyalty card or were loyal to that actual brand. And so while the 12 to 15% may be a relatively small percentage, what they also found out was that those 12 to 15% made up 75 to 85% of the sales. So the 12 to 15% made up most of the sales for those retail locations. And what does that tell me? That tells me that loyalty drives sales. And so if you can offer a predictable experience for your customers and you can offer that consistency, you're going to be in a much better chance to have loyal customers who are going to come back over and over and over again and probably make up the bulk of your sales. Number 2, efficiency. Hallmarks of any good franchise systems are that they are efficient. They're efficient in their operations. They're efficient in how they market themselves. They're efficient in how they run their business. And part of being efficient is having a very clear understanding of who's doing what in your business and what you are doing in your business. And I see that time and time again in good franchise systems. They're very, very efficient. Number 3 is they're simple. Most good franchise businesses are simple businesses. And that doesn't mean they're dumbed down businesses. No, it's actually the opposite of that. I mean, they're very focused businesses. The good franchise systems I've seen are very, very focused on what they do and what they do well, and they don't get distracted by all the outside noise. I think a common problem for a lot of entrepreneurs is that as you continue to grow and build your business, more and more opportunities will come about. And there's the temptation to take your eye off the prize as those opportunities come about and not stay focused on your core or what got you to where you are. Now, certainly there's nothing wrong with looking at opportunities and assessing them, but too many entrepreneurs go astray from what their actual core is and what consumers really are buying from them, and they get themselves into trouble. Good franchise systems keep it simple. They keep it focused, and they move forward from a position of strength as opposed to trying to do all sorts of different things that they shouldn't do. Number 4 is marketability. See, you can have a business that's predictable, efficient, simple, and you could be selling floppy disks, and I guarantee you're going to fail. You've got to have a market for what you're doing. Now, that may seem obvious, but here's the deal. How do you identify a market? I mean, what you need to be thinking about as you are looking towards any business and any business growth is, what's the size of your market? You know, oftentimes there are businesses within a business. So as an example, in my own business, in my law practice, you know, I separate out the different streams of revenue that come in, whether I'm working with an entrepreneur or somebody who's buying a franchise or turning a business into a franchise or franchise litigation. I segment all that out into different streams of revenue and think of those as businesses within a business. And then at the end of each quarter, I can take a look at that and say, okay, what was driving the most revenue for the last quarter? And over a period of time, if you can start noticing patterns in your business, if you separate it out, and you can draw some conclusions from those patterns. I mean, sometimes you might decide, well, boy, I've been spending an awful lot of time on this one thing, and it's really not driving that much revenue. Maybe I should not do that anymore. So it puts you in a position to really identify what your core target market is. And that's what I see across all good franchise systems, is they have a real good understanding of not only what their market is, but the size of their market and the opportunity in their market. And that can make all the difference in the world. So if you don't remember anything else from today, remember predictable, efficient, simple, and marketable. Take that to your business, apply it, and trust me, you will be better off for it. Thanks again for tuning in, and looking forward to the episode for tomorrow to close out 5 episodes for this week, all part of National Small Business Week. Thanks again for tuning in. Really appreciate it. Hopefully this was helpful for you today. If you are in the market for a franchise, I would highly encourage you to check out my free ebook, which is What to Know Before You Buy a Franchise. You can head over to my website at that's INDY franchiselaw.com and download it there for free. And let me know what you think. If you're enjoying this podcast, if you're enjoying the value that you're getting from this podcast, I'd also invite you to go to iTunes and provide me with a rating and review. It always helps for visibility on the podcast. So thank you so much for your support, and hope this episode was helpful to you.
Thanks for being with us today on the Franchise Euphoria podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, please be sure to go to iTunes and provide a review. Also, please remember that although Josh Brown is a licensed and practicing attorney, nothing contained in this podcast should be construed as legal advice, because it is not. The information contained in this podcast is general and educational in nature, and none of it should be relied upon as legal advice. That being said, if you have questions for Josh and would like to contact him, please email him at josh@franchiseeuphoria.com. Thank you so much for listening, and we hope you tune in to our next weekly episode.